Eagles fan, I confess to you, I am running out of adjectives. I am running out of words to describe what we are witnessing in this final stretch of the season. If last week we were talking about crisis and eggs thrown at the coordinator's house today, the feeling is something much worse: disbelief. The Philadelphia Eagles didn't just lose to the Los Angeles Chargers on Monday Night Football. The team collapsed, melted down, imploded on national prime time. The score of 22-19 in overtime tells only half the story. The other half is a horror tale starring the man who was supposed to be our hero, Jalen Hurts. The $255 million man had the worst night of his professional career, handing the ball over 5 times. 5 turnovers. It is impossible to win in the NFL playing like this. And now with 3 straight losses and a record that has fallen to 8-5, the question hovering in the air is no longer when will we win the Super Bowl, but rather will we be able to stop the bleeding before it is too late. Remember our last video? We talked about Nick Sirianni's intervention, about how he took a bigger role in the offense to fix things. Well, the result of that intervention was seen last night, and it was catastrophic. The offense looked even more lost, disconnected, and nervous. If the idea was to simplify the game for Jalen Hurts, the shot backfired spectacularly. The quarterback looked flummoxed the entire night. He wasn't seeing the reads, he was forcing passes into non-existent windows and holding the ball too long. The head coach's intervention didn't save the team. It seems to have exposed even more the wounds of an offensive system that is broken at its foundation. Let's dissect Jalen Hurts' performance because the numbers are frightening. Before this game, Hurts had thrown only 2 interceptions all season. He was an example of ball security. Against the Chargers, he threw 4 interceptions. 4. Adding a fumble that made 5 total turnovers on his tab. He completed 21 of 40 passes for 240 yards, finishing with a quarterback rating of 31.2. To give you an idea of how bad that is, it was his lowest mark since that disastrous game against the Giants at the end of the 2023 season when the team was also collapsing. It feels like déjà vu, doesn't it? The same horror movie repeating itself in December. Hurts didn't look like a franchise QB, he looked like a rookie, lost in the middle of a shootout. But it would be unfair and incorrect to put 100% of the blame on Hurts' back. Football is the ultimate team sport, and yesterday, our biggest receiving star also failed miserably. A.J. Brown finished with 100 statistical yards, which looks good on paper, but anyone who watched the game knows it was one of his worst performances in an Eagles jersey. Why? Drops. Crucial drops. Drops that change scores. Brown dropped a bomb right on the first play of the game, which set the tone for the match. In the third quarter, he dropped a ball that hit his hands and resulted in one of the interceptions. And the worst of all, in the fourth quarter, he dropped a perfectly thrown pass that would have been a sure touchdown. Let's analyze the impact of that specific drop in the fourth quarter. If A.J. Brown catches that ball, the Eagles open up a 7-point lead. 7 points completely changed the dynamic of the end of the game. The Chargers would need a touchdown to tie. But because he dropped it, we had to settle for a field goal, leaving the lead at just 3 points. This allowed the Chargers on the last drive of regulation to play more comfortably to seek just the tie, which they achieved with Cameron Dicker's field goal. A technical error by an elite receiver cost the chance to kill the game in regulation time. When your best players, Hurts and Brown, play poorly at the same time, you don't beat well-coached teams like the Chargers. What makes this defeat even more bitter stomach-churning is what our defense did. Vic Fangio's unit played a heroic game. They sacked Justin Herbert 7 times, 7 sacks. On any other day, 7 sacks guarantee a comfortable victory. They limited one of the best arms in the NFL to a ridiculous 129 passing yards. Herbert couldn't breathe in the pocket. The defensive line, led by Jalen Carter and Josh Sweat, dominated the trenches, and all of this was thrown in the trash by the offense. The defense handed the victory on a silver platter several times, holding the fort, even after Hurts' turnover. But there comes a time when the dam breaks. You can't ask your defense to go back on the field 5 times in bad situations and expect them not to give up points. Even dominated through the air, we need to give credit to Justin Herbert. The guy was playing with a broken bone in his non-throwing hand, and even so, he was his team's leading rusher. He ran 10 times for 66 yards, escaping pressure and converting crucial downs with his leg. It was frustrating to see the defense cover everything perfectly. The pass rush arrived, and Herbert escaped through the middle to gain 15 yards. He showed heart and leadership, something that, unfortunately, seemed to be missing in our offense's execution in decisive moments. If there is a single bright spot to salvage from this disaster, his name is Saquon Barkley. He was the only offensive player who seemed to be on the same rotation as the defense. Barkley ran 20 times for 122 yards, including a spectacular 52-yard run for a touchdown early in the fourth quarter, which gave us the momentary 16-13 lead. That was the moment we thought, okay, we're going to steal this ugly game. Barkley carried the piano. He was the escape valve that worked, but the offense insisted on forcing passes when maybe they should have continued to feed the ground monster. When you have a running back averaging more than 6 yards per carry, why force passes into covered windows? And of course, to complete the perfect storm of incompetence, special teams appeared to haunt us. Jake Elliott, who used to be Mr. Automatic, is living his own astral hell. At the end of the first half, after a gift from the defense, Adoree Jackson's interception, and a personal foul by the Chargers that put us in great field position, Elliott missed a 48-yard field goal. We went into the locker room, losing 10-6 instead of 10-9. Did those 3 points make a difference at the end? Absolutely. The game went to overtime tied at 19. If we had those 3 points, well-ifs don't play football. But it is the third straight game that a crucial kicking error comes back to bite us. The confidence in our kicker is shaken, and this affects the coach's decisions to risk it or kick. The outcome in overtime was the rotten cherry on top. The Chargers scored a field goal on the first possession, making it 22-19. The Eagles had the chance. The ball was in Jalen Hurts' hand. Go there and win the game, or tie it. And what did we see? A march to the opponent's 2-yard line. We were at the door of the end zone. The victory was 2 yards away. And then the fifth turnover, an interception by Tony Jefferson at the 2-yard line, sealed our fate. Game over. An anticlimactic and painful ending perfectly sums up the night we got close, but shot ourselves in the foot. With this loss, we fall to 8-5. 3 straight losses, Cowboys, Bears, and now Chargers. The team that seemed unbeatable a month ago now looks fragile, beatable, and mentally broken. We are losing the advantage in the division. We are losing seeding in the playoff. And most importantly, we are losing our identity. Who are the 2025 Philadelphia Eagles? Is it the team that runs the ball well but doesn't take care of it? Is it the team that has an elite defense but an anemic offense? The identity crisis is real and time is running out. The temperature on Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo's seat went from hot to infernal. The eggs at Patullo's house were an ugly warning, but the performance on the field yesterday was confirmation that something is not working. Sirianni's intervention had no immediate effect. Now they have a short week to pick up the pieces. The narrative of last season's meltdown is returning with full force in the press. The players are frustrated, the fans are furious, and the coaching staff seems to be without answers. The only good news: the next game is Sunday, December 14th at home at Lincoln Financial Field against the Las Vegas Raiders. On paper, it is a winnable game, but after what we saw against the Bears and now against the Chargers, is there any easy game for this current Eagles team? The stadium will be tense. The first offensive drive will be crucial. If the team takes the field and goes 3 and out or commits a turnover, the boos will be deafening. The Link will not be a welcoming environment. It will be a cauldron of pressure. The reality is harsh. The Eagles are in free fall. 5 turnovers from your star quarterback, drops from your number 1 receiver, and errors from your trusted kicker. The defense did its part, but football is complementary. Now, I want to throw the hard question: who is the biggest culprit for this defeat? Is it Jalen Hurts with his 5 turnovers and bad decision? Is it Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo with a game plan that didn't work? Or is it the collective drops by Brown Elliott's miss? Do you believe this team can still be fixed for the playoffs? Or are we seeing a repeat of the 2023 collapse? Vent here in the comments, because group therapy is necessary today. Leave a like if you agree with this critical analysis, even if it hurts, and subscribe to the channel, because we will be here in victory and defeat, analyzing every detail of this soap opera. Stay strong, Eagles Nation. We are going to need it.